Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against me, God, and the land of Magog, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, prophesying against him. And said, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy claws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy armies, horses and horsemen, all of them cloaked, all sorts of armor, even in great companies with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmets. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Verse 7 in the book of Ezekiel 38, chapter 7 verse in the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, And be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy companies that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. And this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 7. In verse 17, in the book of Isaiah in the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, Behold, I will stir up the bees against them, which shall not regard silver. As for gold, they shall not delight in it. Matthews 24 and 6 in the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Mark 13, 7 and 8. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Be ye not troubled, for these things must need be, but the end shall not be yet. Verse 8. For nation shall rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be earthquakes in divers places. It shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginning of sorrows. Luke 21 and 9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by anybody. And Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely, and Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely, and Shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say Shalom to you Akim out there. And as you see, I brought out those scriptures in reference to this news article, and it's another news article I was going to bring out as well too. And this first one from MSN.com, and it was from U.S. News World Report. And this is published by Paul D. Schenkman, if I pronounce his last name right. And this is published about 4 hours ago. And this is for in the news. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the place they stick, you got to go in the microwave and heat up.
Right.
And they like salads.
Hmm. True.
Just take a big sometimes like a dog over
Right.
there.
True.
Good.
Yeah.
Some people had 200 degrees.
Oh, in some areas.
Yeah, down south too. Nobody go to that thing down there. It's hot down south.
Yeah.
Man, you fry eggs on it. So hot down south.
Right.
You want to eat that?
Mm. Salakia, I was talking to my OG. Back to the lesson. Yeah, as I was bringing out the scriptures of Isaiah 13 and 17, and Matthews 24 and 6 through verse 7, and then Mark 13, 7 through 8, in the book of Luke 21 and 9, and these are references of scriptures that I brought out. And this is in the news this is a news article for in the news once again for another sit down lesson through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua on July the 20th, 2022 on this Shabbat, 6:37 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this is a news article, like I mentioned again, for in the news on July the 20th. And this is a U.S. News and World Report. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads, U.S. warns Iran cooperating with Russia and Ukraine is a really, really bad idea. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Wednesday warned Iran against supporting Russia with its invasion of Ukraine a day after an intractable U.S. adversary publicly expressed a desire for new forms of cooperation, including potential weapon exchange. We would have advised Iran not to do that, Austin told reporters on Wednesday afternoon, shortly after convening a virtual meeting of the Western countries supporting Ukraine with weapon shipments and other forms of aid. We think it's a really, really bad idea. Austin did not offer any further details on what the U.S. is preparing to do to deter Iran from cooperating with Russia. Probably more economic sanctions. Not surprised. It says when pressed, later Army General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, who spoke alongside with the secretary, declining to offer any specifics, dismissing the question as a policy issue. But the new partnership comes at the particularly far time for Joe Biden and his administration struggling to pressure Iran to rejoin the 2015 agreement governing its nuclear program with no significant sign of success so far. So yeah, I ain't gonna really get all too much into it. It's a lot of reading. But that goes to show you that as I brought out Isaiah 13 and 17, the Heavenly Father is gonna stir up the Medes, which is the modern day Iranians. They're gonna put that spirit on them, have that war type like tactic. He's gonna put the spirit on them to continue to create nuclear capabilities, the enrichment of creating a potential nuclear bomb to their nuclear arsenal. And that goes back into Joel 3 and 10, let the weak say I am strong. And that's what you're seeing, these nations showing their military capability against modern day Babylon. Now you got Russia clicking up with Iran, for military exchange, weaponry exchange, economic exchange, oil production exchange. Most likely that's the most likely that's the scenario. And their alliance and allegiance with one another is going to get more stronger than ever. And I believe they was meeting with I believe Russian president met with Turkey, the president of Turkey as well too. So all of them together was in a meeting together. So all three of them gonna potentially be allies, Russia, Iran, and Turkey. And as I brought out, as the introduction of this lesson as well too, as I brought out the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, Gog and Magog, which is the modern day Russians, is the bear in the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, from the first verse all the way down to the 7th verse, And the Heavenly Father is going to put on the spirit of these Russians to go to war as well too. They're going to put that mighty spirit back into them, that USSR type spirit, that mighty warrior USSR type spirit on these Russians and these Iranians as well too, because Russia and Iran is going to click up with each other. They're going to show their strong alliance towards one another. Now, as far as Iran goes, as I was reading through the article, saying that Joe Biden and the administration was unable to show some type of significance of arrival of the 2015 nuclear deal. Because the reason why Iran don't want no nuclear deal in sight, not anytime soon. Because it seems like that's going out the window so far. Iran, they mainly focusing on having a strong alliance with Russia, China, and North Korea as well too. They all gonna click up to go against the Western allies of America as well too, that support Ukraine. So these things gonna intensify and increase more and more and more after you seeing all these Russia and Iran starting to have that strong ties of alliance, that good chemistry between the two different nations, And that's what you're seeing. North Korea going to be joined in as well too. And Turkey as well too, Because I believe Turkey right now, they doing some type of operation mission in Syria. And this second news article that I'm about to bring out, they doing a mission operation in Iraq as well too. But far as Iran and Russia, their ties of allegiance, of cooperation as being strong allies is going to get stronger and stronger, especially against the Western countries and the United States as well too. Now the representation from the United States talking about Iran shouldn't join. The representation of the United States talking about Iran should not join Russia and be part of that. Talking about it's a bad idea. Well, you can't stop them from doing that. Even if you put more continual economic sanctions on them, or potentially a military move against them as well too. That's not going to stop the cooperation of strong alliance and chemistry between Iran and Russia, because the Heavenly Father is going to stir up the Medes against modern day Babylon, as I brought out in Isaiah 13:17. That should not regard their gold nor their silver, with the economic sanctions that they continue to put on them as well too, So that goes to show you there's nothing modern day Babylon can do to stop the alliance between Russia and Iran, Now I'm about to bring out this second news article. Let's if I see if I put it on here. Let's see. Oh, here go the news article right here. Now you have, like I mentioned before, you have operations stationed in Turkey and Syria. I mean, let me rephrase that, not in Turkey. You know, the president of Turkey had operations in Syria to continue to go on against the ongoing operation and organizations factors in Syria with the PKKK. I mean, the PKK and the YPG is organizations as well too. And this news article right here is in Turkey, and it makes sense too because Turkey, they're gonna be part of that Russia-Ukraine. I mean, other part of that Russia and Iran versus United States and the Western Allies as well too. Russia, they're gonna be put in there as well too. That's why I brought out the book of Ezekiel, because Gomer is the modern day Turkish people, modern day today, you know. And this is a news article from the Associated Press, and a highlight of this news article, and it reads: Turkey's strikes in northern Iraq, killing at least 8 tourists. The Turkish artillery strikes killed at least 8 tourists, amongst them a small children, in a northern Iraq, and wounding other 20 officials. And this makes sense too. In Turkish, say that the Kurdish people, you know, they support evil organizations that kill innocent children, women, and all that. You know, they say they support evil organizations and factors groups and stuff like that. Look what they doing. You know, ain't that hypocritical to say that? Because you look at Turkish did an artillery strike, killing at least 8 people, which is tourists, and amongst our small children. So ain't that be hypocritical for Turkish on their end to say like the Kurdish people, they support the killings of innocent men, women, and children? But look what they're doing. You know, I just had to throw a side note on that situation. But continuing on with the reading, and I'm gonna read it again for edification's sake. Turkish artillery strike kills at least 8 tourists, amongst them a small children, in northern Iraq, and wounding over 20 officials from the Iraqi Kurdish government. In a hospital, and the army said Wednesday at least 4 artillery shells struck the resort in the area of Barakah in the Zaku district in semi-autonomous Kurdish run region. District Mayor Masoud Mohammed told the Associated Press all casualties were Iraqi citizens. It says Iraqi military said 8 were killed in the attack. Health workers at the Bidar Hospital in Doku Providence, which received patients, saying 9 were killed and dozens were injured. People sat outside the hospital, critically injuring patients, and including young children with stunned faces, were transferred to the gurneys inside a toddler was pronounced dead among her mother. The Kurdish, the Iraqi Kurdish region health minister said all the dead were young people and children, including a 1-year-old. The ministry said 26 people have been taken to the hospital with minor to severe injuries. Among was Yusuf, a tourist from Baghdad. He said many tourist groups were vacationing in the area at the time of the attack. Iraqi government condemns the attack, calling it a flagrant violation of Iraqi sovereignty, according to the statement from Foreign Ministry. The attack led to the deaths of the injuries of civilians, most of whom are women and children. Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi said in a statement, "This brutal attack underscores the fact that Turkey ignores Iraqis' continuous demands to refrain from military violations and against Iraqi territories and the lives of people," he said. It says the UN mission Iraqi called in a statement for a thorough investigation to determine circumstances surrounding the attack. Separately, 6 federal police personnel were killed and 5 were injured in the northern province of South Hadim, if I pronounced that right, after Islamic State militaries attacked their units in dawn on Wednesday, according to 2 officials in the Iraqi army who spoke on the condition anomaly because they were not authorized to speak to the media. Hundreds of Iraqi tourists come to the Kurdish region from south during a peak summer months because the weather is relatively cool. The tourist sites in Zahaw is nearly military bases set by Turkey. Right, so they got military stationed in Iraq. Now they got ongoing military operations in Syria as well too. So that lets you know that the wars and rumors of wars is definitely increasing, especially in the Middle East. Because tensions in the Middle East is going to increase more and more and more. Even though we so used to hearing these occurrence happen on an everyday basis, but it's going to increase more and more and more as tension is going to increase in the Middle East, especially places like Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel as well too, and Yemen as well too, especially like the southern part of Yemen. So we're going to read all that. So yeah, with the first article that I just brought out, a recap of what I was brought out. The first article that I just brought out about United States was warning. United States was warning the cooperation Iran have with Russia, and U.S. representation, which is Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, was warning Iran about supporting Russia, which is a really, really bad idea, according to him. But, even if they do some type of action measurements to potentially try to stop the cooperation between Iran and Russia, they might just the most likely scenario, just do economic sanctions, more harsh economic sanctions, and then the Heavenly Father is going to stir the Medes up to go against modern day Babylon, and the Heavenly Father is going to put the spirit of the USSR war type tack back on these Russians, because the bear represents Russia, Then you got the current tensions of Then you got the current tensions and a lot going on in Iraq, which we're so used of hearing, and then the tensions in Syria as well too, and other parts of the Middle East as well too. So all these things is going to increase more and more and more to the commotions of wars, the proxy wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdoms, and it's going to all correlates to Revelations 11 to 14. Second war was past, and behold, the third war coming quickly. So with that, I hope this was edifying. The spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and a ball.